On behalf of citizens and friends of Trinidad and Tobago, my name is Jasmine Napier, and I'm the president, and I'd like to welcome you all here this evening. I would like, first of all, to introduce you to the Ambassador of Trinidad and Tobago for the United States, His Excellency, Dr. Neil Parsan.
I know for sure I feel at home because we are starting late. Just on time, 20 minutes later that. The average starting time for Trinidad event. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And it's an absolute pleasure for me to be here in LA. I was saying earlier today, I actually lived there for a short bit of time, several years ago, because I was part of the University of the West Indies, and I lectured and did some exchange programs at UCLA and part of the UC system. So it's almost a return home for me here in LA. Trinidad and Tobago's population is 1.4 million. CARICOM's population outside of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, is 5.5 million. If I include them, we are 10.5 million people. That's a lot. Jamaica's population is estimated at about 2 million. Their diaspora alone is estimated at 3 million. So understand the context of what we can be doing here. You get a lot of support from the Jamaicans. You get a lot of support from the Guyanese. And I've come to realize that it'll be wrong of me to isolate the Caribbean diaspora. So I think the way we have to start thinking is no longer Trinidad and Tobago here, but think Caribbean-wide. There is strength and unity. In that spirit, I feel we should be moving forward as a unified Caribbean in some of these states. It's also in that spirit that I have been engaging the Jamaican ambassador. Because between Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, we control 70 to 80% of the diaspora in the United States. That's pretty powerful. And let's face it, at the end of the day, Trinidad and Tobago is the economic powerhouse of the Caribbean. So there's strength in that economic power, but there's also strength in numbers. So it's logical to bring them together and see how these two countries, together with Barbados and Guyana and these other islands, can come together and fortify a presence out there. As of today, we are supplying the United States with about 53% of the liquid natural gas used on the eastern seaboard. It means, what does that mean? It means there's a 53% probability that when I turn the lights on in Florida, in Washington, in New York, in Boston, it is powered, the grid is being powered by natural gas from Trinidad and Tobago. I would have failed you if I have any Trinidad and Tobago national on the street hungry. We have a responsibility. These are our citizens. It's our responsibility to ensure we take care of our desolate.
Aló y buenas tardes. Ahorita con His Excellency Dr. Neil Parsan. Soy J. Messiah, and we are going to be interviewing him today for myKEEtv, the Caribbean Talent Network, with my co-host Raquel.
Oh my goodness, His Excellency, the Right, the Honorable Dr. Neil Parsan. I'm honored, indeed I am. I sat this evening right here at the town hall meeting right here in Inglewood, and oh my gosh, it was electrifying. It was exciting. It was even enchanting. It really was. You had us captivated. So intellectual, so intelligent. Well done. So, Ambassador, my first question for you is, looks are quite deceiving. You appear very, very young. In fact, you appear to be just merely 19 or something. But we know that that's not your age. What really inspired you, Ambassador, to take up this task? Because we know that you were quite successful in Trinidad and Tobago with your directorship and your lecturing, etc. You're quite successful. What inveigled you? What craziness? Probably that. But what really inspired you to want to take up this ambassadorship here in the United States of America and, of course, to Mexico? And he's also the representative to the OAS. So tell us, what inspired you?
I was asked by the Honorable Prime Minister to serve my country, and regardless of where I was asked to serve, I would have stepped forward and served. And it so happened, fortuitously, that it was to be ambassador to the United States of America for Trinidad and Tobago. A task that I thought about and willingly accepted when I understood the magnitude of the task and the implications for myself, least of, but most of, for my country.
Did you always, or have you ever thought, did you ever think that you would have been an ambassador?
I think all of us are now respectful, right, our ambassadors.
You are right.
You go out there and you do your country proud, you speak about certain things that you could be an ambassador for your family, your job, your place of employment, your country. This is simply a formalization of what I think all of us want to do, which is promote our country.
Yes. What do you perceive would be your greatest challenge?
Time.
Okay.
And brutal ambition to achieve certain things in a space of time.
If you have ever gone on to the brand new website, you will see, I would say, a GQ picture, a GQ photograph of our ambassador right here. Oh my goodness. Ambassador, my next question, do you consider yourself a down-to-earth, the down-to-earth ambassador?
It's not a perception, it's a reality. I mean, as a CEO, I've always had an open door policy. Therefore, if I act any differently, that in itself would be a perception. It is my reality. Unemployment was a bit high about 4 or 5 years ago. It declined quite a bit when the construction boom began in Trinidad and Tobago about 5 years ago. And as of today, one could stand here and argue, how do you define employment to really give us a true picture? There's unemployment, there's underemployment, there's optimal employment, there's employment, and there are some people who just don't want to work. So you could sit here and play around with the definition of employment, but it is not in the double digits as one would argue. It is in the single digits. The last I read is about 9.5%.
I just want to say, first of all, it's a delight listening to you speak. You speak very well. You seem very genuine. And yes, I am proud to be Trinbagonian, and I'm proud to see where the new government is taking Trinidad and Tobago. I know that on May 24th marks your first year anniversary for People's Partnership, the new government in Trinidad and Tobago. And as a Trinbagonian living abroad, as well as my peers, we look forward to returning home, and we just wonder about what kind of job opportunities are there available to us to stop the brain drain issue that we have in the Caribbean. The platform of the new government is really a non-energy based diversificative platform in terms of taking the country forward. And to do that, it is and has been designed to be one of sustainability. Sustainability in itself encompasses having the intellectual support, because a country can have all the resources in the world. If we don't have the intellectual capacity to appropriately and optimally leverage those resources, you are nothing. And you're absolutely right. A big part of that is having built your capacity here, certainly reconciling that with what the opportunities are back at home. And I did indeed itemize some of the industries we have been looking at. Film is one of them, creative industries, music, entertainment, agriculture, printing and packaging, yachting and marine services, and these are the areas of expertise that will be required in terms of technical support to take an industry forward. Therefore, I will implore the listening audience to certainly look at the opportunities. They're all available on the website, gov.tt. And it will also be interesting for you to look at some of the curricula that's on the website for University of Trinidad and Tobago, the University of the West Indies, and that in itself is a planning platform for where we want to go intellectually. Yes.
And I would implore the listening audience to really take a look at it and study it and see how you can reconcile your experiences and your academic learnings and bring it back home so you can leverage what we have.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so
most
much.
welcome.
I see that you're wearing the Trinidad and Tobago lapel right there, which is beautiful. I try to wear it myself. And there's not a day that goes by when I wear that pin that people ask, where are you from? I think it's a great way of advertising. However, I know that when I say I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, people wonder, oh, where is that? I say,
Jamaica that
yes, exactly. And so I want to know, like, what are we doing to amplify the advertising of Trinidad and Tobago, besides Carnival, but on a greater level? Everybody knows about Barbados and Jamaica for tourism, but what about Trinidad and Tobago?
The greatest form of advertising we are doing is right now. Okay. The greatest form of advertising for any company are its customers and its employees. And you are a customer of Trinidad and Tobago because you are national of Trinidad and Tobago. Yes. And I think everyone who's listening, in addition to both of you, are duty-bound to spread that word. I mean, one could invest financial resources in terms of advertising, but you know, we also don't want to market ourselves as putting a small plaster on a festering wound. We also want to be ambassadors in our own right and go out there and spread the word that is Trinidad and Tobago. And I think this is an ideal form of advertising, getting out there, getting the message out, and letting John public know who we are and what we stand for.
Okay, thank you. Well said. I myself have always wanted to be an ambassador, and I just wondered, like, what kind of steps would you have to take, or what kind of information you could give young people out there who might want to aspire and follow in your footsteps?
Study, study, study.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I mean, it starts with academia. It starts with us. I mean, you want to also be proud of your academic achievements, but it also involves a level of patriotism. It involves a level of experience. And I think one also has to be very topical in terms of understanding the issues of the day. One also has to be able to contextualize those issues in the reality of Trinidad and Tobago. Events in the United States, events on a global scale, how would that reconcile with what our development path is about, and put that into context to take our country forward. Therefore, I mean, academia, experience, and above all, I left it for last. Let patriotism run deep in your blood, deep in your veins. Live, breathe, eat your country. If you don't have passion for your country, you don't deserve one. It's as simple as that.
You did say that here in the US, you want to propagate tried and true. That's TNT. That was one of the mantras done by the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association over there, where we were trying to get that actual logo on every locally manufactured product. That is TNT, tried and true, buy local. And you were saying that your hope is that we would buy local over here. And it is my hope as well that when I would go on a shelf, I would see Matooks and other products to choose from. The only thing I must admit that I see in abundance is Angostura bitters. However, it's quite difficult to get, locally manufactured products here. I would like you to elaborate a little bit on plans to get that done, to facilitate. Of course, we know his plan is to facilitate trade, etc. But I like this man. He's very down to it. He's like, need, assess, and we attack it at the root and just get it done. How do you propose to kind of do that so that when I go into Ralph's or Gelson's, I can see Matooks, I can see Big Mama, whoever, on the supermarket shelf?
It starts with a couple of things. It probably starts with us. While in Connecticut, for example, I engaged the diaspora there. And I was very pleased to see the existence of a Caribbean/West Indian Trade Council. It starts with a portal like that, with a mandate for increasing trade and economic activity based on Caribbean goods and services. It also starts with the need, the demand for it. And that sensitization starts at the grocery shelf. Right. And we also have some logistical challenges in terms of distribution and transport to overcome. So I think an entrepreneurial spirit combined with some logistical management issues in itself is catalytic, if not stimulatory, to economic activity starting here. Then the supply side also has to be met from Trinidad and from the rest of the Caribbean, Jamaica, where they must be able to keep up with the supply required to fulfill the demand. And I think both sides need to reconcile and bring demand and supply together.
Well said.
I wanted you to speak more about the Ministry of the People that I heard you speak about earlier. I think that sounds like a wonderful project and program that you all have set in place. And I know that it will aid towards unemployment, housing, education, reconstruction of the roads, and these kind of infrastructures. And I just wanted you to educate the people about what the Ministry of People.
Well, the Ministry of the People was a new ministry founded by the Honorable Prime Minister, and it was a campaign promise on the campaign trail for delivery. And it was one of the very first tasks that was successfully completed in the first 100 days of office, which was to formulate, implement, and execute a Ministry of the People. The ministry was meant to be interministerial in function. In other words, we have many ministries in Trinidad and Tobago, but then the burning question was, does it actually trickle down to the people? Right. And the Ministry of the People was meant to bridge the gap, bridge a dysfunctional gap at that between the experiences of social issues and how it impacts on people's lives, thus improve the quality of life. That ministry was done to harness the resources, expertise of various other ministries, and ensure in a very measurable way that social issues in terms of the quality of life, food, shelter, clothing, healthcare, etc., touches people at the community level. In fact, you can drill down below the community at the household level. Okay. So the ministry and the Honorable Minister, Dr. Glenn Rabadar, they have been doing a lot of work in terms of physically going out to the various communities and almost a door-to-door basis, assessing the needs and seeing how best they can improve the quality of people's lives. But it involves too an upward mobility approach in terms of engaging other ministries to deliver some of these social issues that we have on the ground. And I really wish the Honourable Minister all the best in his endeavours, because I know it's a yeoman's task.
Yes.
And I'm confident that he will deliver. And I think in fairness to the public, we would like to see the measurability of the success of it going forward. So, because I firmly believe that that ministry in itself is probably one of the most important ministries any government anywhere in the world could have.
Yes.
And I'm hoping it becomes a model that is imitable and thus extrapolable elsewhere in the world. So social services are delivered in an effective manner back to where it belongs, to people.
Thank you so much.
What would one of your main promises be to Trinidad and Tobago? 1, and 2, also tell the world where and how they can reach you. Right there.
My promise is very simple, and it's also deeply sincere. I will do my best. That's all I can promise, because I can't do beyond my best. And you can reach me on ttembassy.com under Contact Us, and all the emails would come to my desk eventually through the secretary. But I am contactable that way. Very much through our website, and it's a portal I'm encouraging the population to use, www.ttembassy.com. I would also like to suggest that, in traveling and dealing with the diaspora as a whole, one thing is very clear. The Caribbean people and the level of Caribbean unity as it exists in the United States is exemplary for other disparaging diasporas anywhere in the world. Caribbean people in the United States, they are clearly bonded by a brotherhood based on historical value. When we left the Caribbean islands in the 1940s and 50s, seeking a better life here in the United States and elsewhere. And I would really like to implore the Caribbean community, geographically back at home in the Caribbean, we are a gated community with several homes. If a neighbor's home was on fire, you don't throw water on yours alone. You throw towards your neighbor's home to ensure sustainability of a region. The same message can be extrapolated to the way we operate here in the Caribbean, which is one of unity. We cannot survive as individual islands because we will wither and die eventually. We are too small in numbers. And let us not be intimidated, rather, by the smallness of our nation states, but instead, let's be inspired by the greatness of our vision and the grandeur of our leadership. I thank you. And I thank you for the opportunity.
And thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, Ambassador. His Excellency Neil Parsan. You are watching myKEEtv Caribbean Talent Network right here live at the Inglewood City Hall. We were graced by His Excellency here at a town hall meeting where he met Trinidadians, Tobagonians, and even some other fellow Caribbean peeps, as we like to see. Thank you so very, very much again, His Excellency. We are honored. Again, on behalf of myKEEtv Caribbean Talent Network, you have been watching us live right here. Don't forget to love us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, and just keep in contact with us. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Raquel, that was my co-host Jaya, and this is His Excellency Neil Parsan. Thank you for watching myKEEtv Caribbean Talent Network.
Thank you.
I would like to call Ms. Lourdes Saad to present an award to him.
Your Excellency, it is my honor to, on behalf of the County of Los Angeles, and I know you haven't gotten all the briefing, that the county is 88 cities, 1 million people that live in unincorporated areas.